So, it's the beginning of the year, 2022, and I almost forgot to plan out my year. So usually I'm really good at planning. It's something that I do intuitively and something that I love doing because it helps me sort of map out everything I know that I need to do, obviously, and helps me be really happy. It gives me a sense of satisfaction to know when I get shit done. So today's video is going to be about my process on how I plan. And even though it is already 2022, it's the beginning of January, it's still not too late to plan out your year. So really important that if you haven't already done so, that you do it. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a process. This is a process that I use that was taught to me by my first business coach, Casey, on how to go about planning your year. And it's really important that you do this because it just sets out the whole year for you, and you've got everything planned, everything ready to go for it to be an amazing year for you. So let's get onto it. So the way I call it, it's you want to prime your year, okay? So basically, we want to get everything ready, and we want to get everything set up for the whole year. So why do you want to do this? Well, you want to do this just to help everything be laid out for you. You want to make it really easy for yourself so you're not continually being distracted over the course of the year. And you want to go into the year knowing that you've got all the major milestones set up, all your money-making activities set up, and that way you can really just concentrate on growing your business and obviously having more money and more freedom, which is really what it's all about, right? Yeah. So I want to run you through a little bit of a process. This is the process that I use. I just did, and this is the process that I run through with my clients. There is a worksheet associated with this. If you want the worksheet, just type the word worksheet below, and we'll make sure that we get it out to you. So let's rock and roll. So let's just think about what we want to achieve in business, right? So we have this timeline. In business, I like to think of it that we want to have more money. If you look at the money aspect there, and more leverage, which, in plain sense, equates to more freedom and more money. So if you sort of think about, for the sake of this exercise, last year, 2021, and for the sake of this exercise, just say that, you're placed down here. So that means you're making a little bit of money, you had a little bit of, leverage and freedom in your business. And, where do we want to be in 2022? So in 2022, you want to be a little bit up here. You want to have more money, more freedom, greater leverage. Okay, so that's where we essentially want to go. And so what we want to do is we want to start to plan how we're going to get there. So we're going to get from the bottom left quadrant to the top right quadrant. Okay, and if we have a look at some of the things that we did last year, 2021, there was a few things that we did. And if we want to have a look at the stuff that we need to do in the future, which is represented by that green circle on top. And if we look at all the business activities that we did to create more income, to create more leverage, there's going to be some things that we did last year in 2021 that we want to stop because obviously they weren't getting us towards our goal. And there's going to be some things that are going to be overlapping that, we want to keep some of those activities, some of the good things that we did in 2021 and take them into 2022. Yeah, so we want to keep those bits. And then, of course, to get to where we want to go, there's going to be a lot of things, or some things that we want to start doing. And so this is the concept and the reasoning behind why I want to walk you through this today. So we can just start to milestone and come together with a plan on how we can start doing this, okay? If you don't, you're really going to feel like you're out of control, and you're just going to be moving in all directions. You're going to be you're just not going to have a clear plan for success, and we all need a clear plan for success. Otherwise you're going to be just constantly chasing shiny objects, and you're going to be really hopeful about next year, but being hopeful, you could just go either way, and like the flip of a coin, right? And so what I want to do is I want to give you a plan so that you're in the cockpit and you've got all the tools and you've got the structure necessary to send this baby home in 2022, and to really create a pathway for you for more cash flow and more profit. Yeah. And this will give you a lot of certainty, because when you have a plan that we're going to go through and we're going to stress test it and we're going to tweak it, which I'll show you how to do, having that extra bit of certainty for the year will make sure you will obviously succeed in the new year, right? So it's going to be amazing when we go through this process. So I don't know why you want to plan the year, but I definitely want to plan the year so that I end up with success. And I suspect that if you're watching this video, you want the same success as well. I mean, that's why we're in business, and that's why we're living our lives. So yeah, let's do it. So what I want to do is walk through some 5 key principles that was taught to me in really planning out and succeeding in your year, right? The first one is your cash flow and profit follows your calendar. So there is still this computer scientist called Alan Kay, and he came up with this quote: "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." So Alan Kay was a computer scientist, and he was one of the first guys to come up with the concept of a Dynabook, which is like a laptop. He envisaged this laptop, a really small device in the 1960s or 70s that kids could use to learn from. So really, really super smart guy, and really appropriate quote here. So the best way to predict the future is to invent it. And so what we want to do is we want to create our year so that we only have to think once. And so we're not being pulled in all these different directions. We have a clear plan, some train tracks to go forward. I don't know about you, but I used to be the same when I was in business. Like, I'd not really have a plan, and I was jumping around from marketing campaign to marketing campaign. Perhaps you listen to one guru and then you go to another guru, and you're fucking just all over the place, right? So what I want to do is just lay out the tracks, lay out the plan, so we only need to think once. And in this analogy, so the tracks are the plan, and we're going to be the train. And we're just going to follow the tracks, right? So when you're a train, you don't have autonomy over what you do. You just follow the train, and you've got no options. And I'd much prefer that you have a plan, think it through once, which is a great thing to do, just a normal planning session. And then you can just execute and just follow the fucking tracks, right? The next thing you want to do is you want to milestone the money making. So what you want to do is you want to try and understand what are the big rocks, and I'll go through that in a moment. What are the activities that in your business are going to bring you the cash over the year? And milestoning means you want to, 1, identify them, and 2, you want to milestone them by putting them in your calendar. And you want to, so that you can see what's going to be happening throughout the course of the year. You can start planning for the course of the year. You've got a snapshot of what's going on. And, just taking the time to do this process of milestoning the money making, which we'll do later on, just thinking about what are your key activities for the year, what's really bringing you the big bucks, or what's going to bring you the bucks, it's going to be super, super useful, okay? Once we do that, then we're going to do a stress test. So we want to understand, if I work this plan, will it give me the freedom that I want? And if it doesn't, we'll go back in and then we'll tweak the plan. We're going to do a stress test again. And is it going to give me burnout? Because that's the last thing we want to do as business owners, is get burnout. So we're going to work the plan. We're going to stress test it. So, does this plan that we're going to put together, that you're going to put together, give you what you want? Right? This process I usually do with my clients. We sit it out over 60 minutes. I'm just going to walk you through it here, and you can do the exercises. If you want some help with this stuff, just, I don't know, pop the word calendar below, and I'll work through this with you. Okay, so that's step number 4. We want to do a stress test, right? So just to make sure it's really important. You don't want to go through the year without, you want to be really confident that the plan that we've put together is going to work. And you don't want to go halfway through the fucking year and go, this shit's not working. So you want to try and stress test that and just, play it out in your mind. And then you just want to work the plan. You just want to put your blinkers on and just go fucking for it. And so you don't need to get distracted with anything else because you have a plan to work the year, and really, really easy. And it's just going to make it so much easier for you. Okay. So what I want to do is talk to you about the process that we go through this. So many of you have probably heard of Stephen Covey. He uses this great analogy called the big rock. And this was taught to me by one of my business coaches, Casey Golan, and recently by Taki Moore. They use this analogy really, really well. And so basically, Stephen Covey, and I'm going to butcher this, but I don't care, but it's just an analogy. You can go look into it for yourself. So basically, if we want to look at the big rocks in our business, so these are the most important priorities in our business. And these are our money-making activities. So what's going to bring in the big bucks, okay? And that way, once you prioritize all the big things in your business, all the big money-making activities, then the less important activities fight their way into your calendar. So they come in, not the most important things, okay? So you got all the big shit laid out, and then all the stuff that, all the secondary stuff can just kind of slot in. What most people do, before we go there, so we just want you to change your thinking, and ensure that you're not having a losing battle sorting through all the shit. That's all the gravel that comes through into your business. And now's the time to decide what is important. Let's schedule it in. So we'll schedule it in into your weeks, months, and days into your calendar, and this way we allow ourselves to focus on the really important things. Because I don't know about you, but when I was running my business, there was just so many distractions. And before, when I did this process, like I said, I was always, there were tendencies. I was running around finding the next big marketing program, finding the next big SEO program, or fucking doing shit all over the place. And it just really distracts you from what you need to do. Yeah. So now let's focus on the important things. So here's what most people do, right? So if we have a look at our big rocks, these are our important money-making activities. Let's look at the pebbles, which are our secondary activities, and then let's look at our sand. And in the analogy that Stephen Covey says, like most people, they kind of just put shit everywhere. You put the sand in first, which are your not most prioritized activities, and you put your pebbles, which have got some meaning, but not a lot. But then you decide, oh shit, I've really got to do my money-making activities, the big rocks, and all of a sudden, it doesn't fit, right? You just got your big rocks overflowing all over the place. And you can never have rocks standing like that. It's just, you're just going to be overflowing, and you've just basically, in a sense, prioritized wrong. So we need to get the right things done. Right, so in the Stephen Covey analogy, what we're using here, we're going to, know what our big rocks are, and we're going to schedule them in. So we put them in first. And then we're going to look at our pebbles, which is the next major things that are really important in our business. And once we've scheduled those things in, then we're going to look at the sand, right, which is all the other little bits and pieces, and I'll run through them with you properly. All the minor activities, which are easy for us as business owners to get distracted in, but if we end up prioritizing them first, as you saw from the previous slide, it's just going to flow over, and you're not going to get anything done. Or you might get some stuff done, but it's just going to be all over the fucking place, right? So what we want to look at, so these are our big rocks. These are our money-making activities. The next part, the pebbles, are our stuff like our holidays, our client deliverables. So basically, that's all the things that we do with our clients in our business to keep the promise that we make to our customers and clients. Okay, so we want to make sure we schedule those in. And then we look at the sand, which is all the personal stuff and professional development type stuff that we have, that we need to do in order to continually run our business. Okay, so that's what I want to run through. So if we have a look, let's look at our big rocks, okay? And in the cases of running our business, you want to look at the money making activities. So the first thing I want to do is look at your monthly free cash flow. Where was it at the end of 2021? And where do you want it to be at the end of 2022? I want you to write down your profit, what it was at the end of 2021. Where do you want it to be 2022? And the number of free days. Okay, so this is your vacation days. The free days, which I'm really strive for in my businesses, because I just love adventure and freedom. That's really important to me, and it's often overlooked by business owners. So I want you to write down how many free days did you have last year in your business, and how many do you want at the end of 2022? Yeah, so that's what we do. The next thing, we need to write down the money making activities. So money-making activities, if I give you the example, I ran pharmacy businesses. So our major money-making activities were stuff like catalogs. Over the course of the year, there were really big promotions, radio promotions, internet promotions. We had a loyalty program, that had ran particular promotions over the course of the year that brought big income. A couple of clients who are in the pet shop industry, they have major campaigns over the course of the year, like Christmas, Father's Day, Mother's Day, all those kind of campaigns they schedule in, which generally tends to bring them the big bucks. So just work through here and just figure out what your money making activities are, and in the frequency you want to put them in, how often. So, you need to start planning out. So how often you're going to be doing these things, how many times a year, right? So really important you take the time to do that. The next step we need to look at are the pebbles. So these are the it's the yellow part of the rocks. So if you have a look on the left, we've got holidays, really important. I want you to figure out how often you want to take them. That's the frequency, the duration, and the destinations. You want to be really clear about the holidays that you take as a business owner, right? This is a really big thing, because most business owners, we don't sort of plan for holidays. We either plan around our employees, or we don't even plan at all because we think we need to be in the business. But if you take the other approach and start to look at your business as obviously trying to provide freedom and money, plan your holidays first. It just really takes it to the next level. The whole year just opens up once you start to plan, especially your holidays in advance. Okay, so you wanna plan that in advance. You want to go through the frequency, the duration, and where you want to go. The other thing we need to look at is client deliverables. So what are the things that your business does to continue the promise? So for instance, you might have some live calls with your clients, either minor promotions, open days. What else do some of my other clients do? Special promotional days that you do as well. So you want to list those down and list as many as you can, and how often you're going to be doing those. So it's obviously dependent on your industry, but it's really important you take the time to think what your pebbles are in the next step of planning out your year. Okay. So what I want you to do now is just don't jump. Take the time, fill out this worksheet, and remember, if you want a copy of the worksheet, just write the word worksheet below. I'll send it out to you. And yeah, just really important we write this down. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with all this information later on. The next thing that we want to look at is the sand. So those yellow bits of little bits and pieces. And I want you to think of the sand as your professional and personal needs. So let's just start quickly with the professional. What sort of learning and development do you want to do over the course of the year, right? Do you want to do a Tony Robbins course, any other upskilling? But you should, I would highly suggest, as a business owner, you always want to constantly be learning, get your brain firing, always learning new techniques and new things to expand your thinking. So same thing with learning and development. Schedule them in, write them down. What would you like to do? Schedule them in. Planning days. I really suggest you take some planning days out of your business. This is really important. And so think about that, where you can just spend, half a day, a couple of times a year working on your business and really planning out what you want to do. Team training is another one. So really important that you've got a training plan for your team, because that not only drives cash flow and profitability really to the next level. And you always want to make sure that your team are engaged, and a lot of team members will be engaged when there's continual development for them. You know this already, but just schedule it in. The next thing you want to do is, you are running a business, and so you want to schedule in all your personal events over the course of the year as part of your SAND. So you want to know what family events are coming up, birthdays, personal care, massages, haircuts, hobbies, when are you going on meditation, when are you catching up with Joe for drinks, or there's somebody's birthday, and other. It's really important that you do that. It may seem a little bit weird that you're planning all this stuff out, and you might think it's too much fucking detail. But really, the amazing part about this, when you plan it like this, is the detail. And when you start to plan out, like, it might seem silly, you plan out your haircuts, but you plan out your haircuts, you plan out your massages, you plan out when the birthdays are in your family. So you start to schedule in all the really important things, so they don't creep up on you when they do. So so that's the SAND, right? So what we do next is we take all the little bits of information and we use this thing called the linear calendar, right? Linear calendar, it's really great because you can see everything on one page, right? Having a visual representation, and when you do this exercise at home or in the office or whenever, and you're taking down all your notes from all the previous sections, your big rocks, your pebbles and your sand, and using a one-page visual just really expands your thinking. Casey used to get us to do this, and he used to print out big, like I think an A3 size of a linear calendar, and it used to be just amazing. Seeing your whole year mapped out, it gives you so much clarity. And then from there, you can go out and then add it into your Google Calendar or whatever daily management system that you're using to record all the stuff that you need to do, right? So we've got this linear calendar. It looks great. It's the whole year. By the way, if you want a copy of this, comment the word worksheet below, and I'll give you this worksheet which has got the calendar in there. You can Google it. It's all over the place. So then what we need to do is, let's start with our big rocks. So we start scheduling them in, right? And then we start with the pebbles, schedule those in. There might be some big events, holidays, etc. You see I've got that marked in August. This is just an example, but just to give you an idea. And then you can start filling in all the sand, all the little shit over the course of the year. So I'm just giving you a small example here. You can actually see how this maps out and how it looks. And then from here, once you've got this, remember the part about stress testing. So once we do that, once we've got the plan up, then we stress test it. Let's project forward. Is this too much? Is this likely to give me burnout? Is this am I going to get too tired from working this plan? Maybe. Then we can go back and tweak it. Go back a few steps, tweak a few of the other things, adjust, have a look at the plan again, and map it out again on the linear calendar, and see how does that look. Am I still going to be busting my nut trying to execute this year? Go back in and tweak it. Okay. So hopefully that made it a little bit easy for you. This is the worksheet, which I don't need to go through. So there you go. Hopefully you found that useful. That's an overview on how to plan the year. That's what I do to plan my year. And remember, I forgot to do this, so I quickly did it. Now that I've got this process, it's really, really easy. This is what I get my clients to do over 60 minutes to 90 minutes over at the end of the year for the next year. We did it a bit late this year, and so my main aim for this is that you get 22 done and completed by design, so you actually get what you want, rather than 2022 happening by default, which is what happens to a lot of business owners. And so you're actually in control and you're just following the tracks, working the plan, head down, enjoying your holidays, enjoying those massages. You know when your money-making activities are, so you're not fucking scrambling. And you're going to have a killer year. Like I said, if you want some help with this stuff, just pop the comment help and I'll reach out to you. If you want the worksheet, pop the comments worksheet in the comments below. And we'll get it out for you. Just wishing you an epic fucking 2022. Crush it.